about to be reacting to. David was arrested. Now what? Man, it took them long enough. I thought it was concrete evidence that clearly showed that he was guilty for. I'm trying to keep it family friendly so I don't get demonetized. But dating that young woman, that young girl rather, and taking her life. There you go. But let's see what he's talking about, bro. Cause that's sickening.
Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not. David has finally been arrested.
Man, it took so long. I'm done. I'm done pausing for the rest of the video, but
He in real time watched this investigation unfold. Now, there's not too much information on the logistical evidence of why they feel like they finally had enough of the warrant and a full blown arrest. But if you've been keeping any form of an eye on this case, there's a couple of different things that make it pretty obvious on why this finally happened. I mean, for God's sake, I made a video on this back in like September of 2025.
in the back of his
While
car, he went in the front of his car. He was in a Tesla, so I get the concept though. You saying trunk because trunks are usually in the back. I
still
get
on
it.
tour, and I
Last time
never
pausing,
looked
y'all.
back because I wanted the full story to come out. Now, of course, because he's apparently being held without bail, the full story ain't out there yet. But looking around this case and not just having tunnel vision, it's pretty obvious that this nigga was involved. So let's look
Yeah.
at why it took them this long and what may come up in this trial. And before we even get into that, I've been seeing people criticize the LAPD for taking this long to send out an arrest, and it's been blowing my mind because people don't understand why it took them so long. Like, just because it looks like he's involved doesn't mean they can just go and arrest him. You know what I'm saying?
But I
Like,
thought they
they
found his DNA. One, it's in his car, so isn't he a suspect or isn't he a part of the crime? Regardless, it was in his car. The body was in his car. So that's why I say so. It's like it took them so long. Then they started coming up with different stories. Now they're trying to figure out how did she actually die. All this extra stuff.
to do a full-on investigation, like literally any other crime that gets committed. But what that investigation looked like, well, we don't know yet. But let's look at what we do know. This all started because of the headline that came out about it, right? A decomposing body of a teenage girl was found inside of the front trunk of a Tesla that was registered then. The police were originally tipped off because of a foul odor, quote unquote, coming from a car in the impound lot. The fact that the body, my God, this is rough. The fact that the body had been there long enough to reach such an advanced state of decomposition immediately lets us know that the car was there for days, probably even longer than that.
Man, that's
So,
sickening,
from a
bro.
legal standpoint, this is very clearly a horrific look. Even if we decide to ignore literally every other thing we're going to talk about, this is a very strong argument for probable cause. Let's get that out the way. The victim, universe rest her soul, was Celeste Hernandez, a girl who had been missing for literal months before she was found. During this investigation, thanks to damn near the internet probably, but I'm 100% certain they found out that they were connected to each other pretty early on in the investigation.
Yeah,
But
they
they
got
had
matching tattoos. They appearing on streams together. Then look at this weirdo, bro. Like, why? I, bro. You're just such a loser that you can't find somebody within your age range. You need to find a child. Come on, bro.
groundwork to
What are we
figure out
doing?
how, the fact that the family said she was dating a boy
Then
named
my
David, the
thing
matching
is,
tattoos.
how is
I
the
mean,
family
there's
even L family? Cause how is the family even allowing this young girl to go with this grown adult? Come on, bro.
too much here to just ignore. One thing the police love to get from an investigation involving a young woman, especially, is motive. Maybe I listen to too many true crime podcasts, shout out Mr. Ballin, but more often than not, when a girl gets murdered, the love interest is almost most of the time, if not half the time, the actual suspect who did it. Mind you, she went missing like 2 or 3 times before this, so again, it just looks extremely suspect on his end, and I'm sure they'll eventually connect the dots. Now, one thing y'all may have forgotten about was that a week after all of this came out, the detectives that were on this case issued a search warrant to a home that was close to where the Tesla, David's Tesla, by the way, was towed. Unfortunately for the people, we don't know what was collected as evidence. They damn near could have found some crazy shit we simply just don't know about, but we do know that David and his manager were staying at this place and moved out like right before this.
If I'm his manager, I would. I wouldn't even be put in this position, honestly. I'm somebody. I'm managing somebody, and I find out that they talking to young girls. Yeah, I can't manage you no more. I can't do this. Go find somebody that's with that. Some more companies. But now he about to be pulled in as maybe a party to a crime and obstructing a crime scene or obstructing an
Went
investigation.
into action. This is the same
Crazy.
place where police had taken electronics like laptops and phones in as evidence, which, yet again, it takes a lot of time to comb through that stuff. So we don't know what they found there either. Now, another
This
thing
nigga
is
got
that the
fingernail
body
paint
was
on.
found mutilated. I know there was a rumor going around that she was decapitated, but that was not true. What is true is that, first of all, the body was in a trunk. That's a massive indicator of foul play. And with the state of the decomposition, again, it was hard to determine what exactly happened to her. But because the autopsy was sealed, at least until the trial, we still don't even know exactly how she passed away. But I would imagine, with
I
how
feel
she
like
was.
once they figure out the exact cause of death, then they gonna really. They already built the case, but they gonna really throw the book at this nigga and they gonna push it to trial and go to a grand jury. But they can't find a cause of death at the moment. So when they figure that out, that's when they gonna start to expedite things.
Owned. It wasn't natural, that much is obvious. But regardless of all that, it highly suggests that someone tried to conceal this up. And that's something the jury is definitely going to keep an eye on. Then there's the absolute worst part of this case, at least for David, is that this nigga was not very cooperative during the investigation that took place over these past few months. Despite what his PR team was saying, and I feel like they were only saying this to save face, well, his face, but they were saying David was doing what he could to aid the police in the investigation, which was, I guess, not true because other sources close to the case claimed that he did not assist investigators, and in fact,
It
lawyered up
get
pretty
confusing, bro.
fast. Now, to be fair, ain't nothing wrong with not saying anything. I
Right.
mean, goddamn, one of the first parts of the Miranda rights read to you is that,
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you in a court of law. If you do not have the right to an attorney, yeah,
to remain silent.
I know
But
my
here's
Miranda rights. I got arrested a couple times, or I got detained a couple times to know my Miranda rights.
thing about
Miranda
that. When
rights.
you take into account, this man has a whole song where he alludes to killing a girl. He made a literal song about the girl in question that passed away. They were clearly involved with each other, and the discords were wiped. The detectives were probably like, yeah, we probably need to get a warrant. Never mind the fact that a key person in this failed to appear as a witness in a criminal proceeding tied to this case. That would be Neo Langston, someone who apparently was a photographer.
Hey, Mr. Langston, man, it's looking dark for you in your career. Man,
David. He was arrested in Montana, of all places, at his mother's crib for not showing up. Now, just
he
a
got
few
caught in
days after
Montana.
that, he bailed out for $60,000, and you have to wonder why he tried to back out of that. At this moment, though, it's unclear if Langston testified or agreed to testify after he was arrested, since grand jury proceedings are, like, usually not public. Another thing the jury is going to look at with a side eye. And speaking of jury and things of that nature, apparently, and I'll just read it verbatim, the case is expected to be presented to the Major Crimes Division, at which point prosecutors will review the facts and evidence to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to file charge. At this time, additional information is not available, but we will share an update Monday once a filing decision has been made.
Damn, it's Monday. Well, it's Tuesday now. But when I drop this, it's probably gonna be Friday. So he should be like convicted of a crime by then.
Why did they arrest him now? Well, we've got direct evidence, a damn near confirmed relationship, possibly even sexual, with the victim, which is a whole
Weirdo.
other can of worms that's for sure somehow going to come up during this trial. Signs of foul play and concealment of the body and expanding witness testimony. All of this gave the prosecutors enough to go from investigating to handcuffs. What I personally think is going to happen next, the charges are going to be, in my opinion, homicide, which is fucking ironic, abuse of a corpse, which is damn near guaranteed if hiding the body was involved,
Yeah,
which,
for
by the
sure.
way,
Especially if it got to the point where the body was decomposing. You know how long it takes for a body to decompose? Come on,
is
man.
easier to prove than murder alone. That's why I think that's going to come up. Tampering with evidence because literal steps were taken to hide this, and maybe conspiracy too. Now, because we don't know what they're gonna use against him, we don't know how strong.
Oh, I was about to say conspiracy, but he said conspiracy as well. Cause yeah,
Conspiracy.
cause him and his manager then they're responsible.
That's something nobody can predict yet, until more information comes out at least. But with electronics taken and physical evidence at play here, I'm sure over the past few months they've built a mountain of shit that they're gonna possibly slap this nigga with. At the end of the day, y'all, in law, what I've learned listening to a bunch of different murder investigations is that there's two distinctive things that come up when these things play out. This looks really bad, but he's fine, versus we can prove that he's behind this beyond a reasonable doubt. And y'all, the prosecutors need the second one to move forward with the case. But the defense just needs to chip away at the second one until it starts to become more like the first one. We won't know at least for a while though. All I can say about this case is that it's genuinely insane how this all played out so far. I mean, I remember watching this dude play Fortnite. I remember actually listening to some of his songs, so I'm just like processing it, I guess. Like this shit is so disgusting. And I really don't know if he's guilty or not because innocent until guilty, but he does look guilty as shit.
For
Rest
sure.
in peace to Celeste on
For sure. We can all agree on that.
real stuff like
For sure. It's too many coincidences for it not to be him, bro.
one thing I hate about this case the most is that her death is honestly just getting overshadowed simply because of who's involved with this case. I find that honestly one of the most tragic parts about the case, honestly. But anyway, I'm UVXEX. I might do an update, I guess.
Oh, whoa. But no, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Honestly, bro, I'm kind of glad that he got arrested. It's got a simple fact, bro. We don't need people like that just roaming around the world, preying on children, and all this extra bullshit. But yeah, I hope he get what he deserves indeed. No, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, and I'm gonna catch you niggas in the next one. Yes,